Srimad Bhagavadgita Adhyaya 2 Shloka 55. I will chant line by line. You can repeat with your microphones off so that it does not cause disturbance. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Prajahati yada kaman Sarvan Parthamanogataan Atmanyevatmana tushtaha Sthita prajnastadochyate. Arjuna asked Bhagavan regarding the characteristics of a sthita prajnaha. A sthita prajna is a jnani, a person who has attained the knowledge of truth, the knowledge of the self. The Upanishads proclaim that the self-knowledge has to be attained from a guru. Even Krishna reflects the same vision, the need for a guru in the pursuit of Atma-jnana, in the pursuit of self-knowledge. Upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. The Atma-jnana. Atma-jnana means self-knowledge. One gets self-knowledge by means of Upadesha. Upadekshanti te jnanam. Bhagavan will say in chapter 4. Upadesha means teaching. The Guru unfolds the self-knowledge with the help of the Shastra. The Shastra, which reveals self-knowledge, is the Upanishad, which is also called Vedanta. Vedanta Shastra. Bhagavad Gita is based on Upanishads. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita is also teaching the same Atma-jnana which is taught in the Upanishads. That is why Madhusudana Saraswati, one of the great acharyas, compares the Upanishads to the cows. Sarvopanishado gavaha. All Upanishads are like the cows, whereas Bhagavad Gita is like the milk from the Upanishad cows. Dugdham Gitamritam Mahat. Gita is Amritam. It is Amrita. Because if you study Gita and get the knowledge therein, you become free from death. You become free from the cycle of birth and death. That is why Gita is called Amritam. And this Gita Amritam is Dugdham, the milk. Milk from the Upanishad cows. The essence of the Upanishads is beautifully presented by Bhagavan himself in the form of the Gita verses. Therefore, the study of Bhagavad Gita is also a means for Atmajnana. Therefore, the Gita sessions are very much relevant. If Gita is studied properly, with the proper attitude from a proper guru, one will definitely find the benefit in one's own life. Therefore, the study of Bhagavad Gita is also a means for becoming Sthita Prajnaha, becoming a Jnani. It is not that someone became a Jnani once upon a time in history. Even you can get Jnana. It is very much possible. Whether you are a man or a woman, whether you are an Indian or a foreigner, whether you are rich or poor, if you have proper attitude and if you pursue the self-knowledge with the commitment, with the Shraddha, with the devotion, then the day is not very far when you will be able to say with the conviction, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. One can say this with conviction. Of course, anybody can say, but without conviction. Shastra says Aham Brahmasmi. Vedanta says Aham Brahmasmi. It is easy to say. Nowadays, many people are learning Vedanta. And many people are becoming Vedanta teachers also. You can find so many teachers of Vedanta. It is easy to say, Aham Brahmasmi. But are you able to abide in the vision? Are you able to say with conviction and confidence? It is not so easy. Because if one has to say Aham Brahmasmi with the conviction, without wavering from the knowledge, it requires lot of preparation. The mind has to be pure. The life has to be pure. The attitude has to be pure. That is when you get the true knowledge, the fruitful knowledge, and you become a sthita prajna. Such a person is called sthita prajna. The person whose knowledge is not wavering. He is always awake to the truth. Then he is sthita prajna. Arjuna is asking, what is the characteristic of a sthita prajna? Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha? This was the question. And Bhagavan is answering. Who is a sthita prajna? What are the characteristics of a sthita prajna? First of all, he is free from all desires. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatan. Sarvan kaman prajahati. Prakarshena jahati. He gives up totally. Not even a trace of desires are left. That is why prajahati. Sometimes we give up desire, but the trace of the desire remains. And it can grow at any other time. But this person, prajahati, he has given up the desires for everything completely. Kama, means a desire. Kamanam kamaha. Bhava vyutpatti. It means a desire. And what is the locus of kama? What is the locus of desire? Some people think desires occur in the Atma, but the desires don't happen in the Atma. Atma is free from all desires. In fact, Atma is free from all attributes. Therefore, it has to be free from desires also. But some philosophers attribute the desires to the Atma itself. For example, the Naiyayika philosophers. According to the Naiyayika philosophers, desires happen in the Atma. Desire is an attribute of the Atma. But Bhagavan rules out such a philosophy. Therefore he says, Manogatan kaman, the desires which are present in the mind. Mind is the locus of desires. Every desire happens in the mind. If we have to defeat an enemy, we should know the locus of the enemy, where the enemy resides. We should know the locus. That is when we will be able to attack the enemy and destroy. Now Bhagavan says, all desires are in your mind. The desire cannot exist in the Atma, and the desire cannot exist in the body. The body is not a seat of the desires. And the desire cannot exist in the object itself also. The object cannot have desire. If I desire a mango, I cannot blame the mango. This person is not supposed to eat sweets because he has sugar problem. Then one of his friends doesn't know that he has this problem. Out of love, he brings a sweet, his favorite sweet, Rasgulla. And then this gentleman is tempted and he eats 5 Rasgullas despite having sugar. And then he suffers. Then the doctor scolds him. I told you, you should not eat sweet. Why did you eat? This person puts the blame on his friend. My friend brought Rasgulla. He should not have brought. It is not his friend's mistake. And it is not the mistake of the Rasgulla also. Poor Rasgulla. Rasgulla has not created the desire. It is your mind which creates the desire. That is why in Ashtavakra Samhita it is said, Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandhamokshayoho. Mind alone is the cause of both bondage and liberation. Mana eva manushyanam bandhamokshayoho karanam. So, the mind creates bondage by causing desires. Kama. As long as there is kama, there is bondage. There is samsara. Because as long as there is desire, we do not stop chasing the sense objects. We go after one object or another restlessly. Therefore, the only way to be free from bondage, the only way to be free from samsara is to give up all desires. It is not possible to give up all desires as long as we do not have self-knowledge. Self-knowledge is the only way to be totally free from all desires. Because as long as we are ignorant of ourselves, we will have a sense of incompleteness. As long as there is a sense of incompleteness, we will be looking for completeness outside ourselves. We will be looking for fulfillment outside ourselves. And looking for fulfillment outside ourselves is called desire. Desire is nothing but seeking fulfillment outside ourselves. When we have self-knowledge, when we have Atma-jnana, we find a fulfillment within ourselves. Because we discovered the completeness of our own self. We discovered the infinite nature of our own self. And when we have found the completeness within ourselves, we are totally free from the sense of incompleteness. We are totally free from the sense of lacking. Then you become free from all desires effortlessly. A jnani is free from all desires effortlessly. It's not that he really gives up the desires. He just doesn't have the desires. Why he should have a desire? Because all happiness is available to him within himself. Then why he should have a desire? There is no reason for a jnani to desire anything. Even if he says, I want this or I want that, sometimes a jnani might as well say, I want idli, I want sambar. Even a jnani might say that. I want mango. During the mango season, even a jnani might say, I am not seeing. So please don't send mangoes. The Swami is saying, I want mango. When a jnani says that, it cannot be considered a desire. It is just a preference. What is the difference between desire and preference? When there is a desire, if the desire is not fulfilled, you are dejected. You are disappointed. A desire is associated with desperateness. You are desperate. If it does not happen, I am not complete. If it doesn't happen, I am miserable. It is desire. Because this feeling springs from a sense of incompleteness. It is a result of ignorance, result of ajnana. Whereas a preference, when you have a preference, if the preference is not fulfilled, you are not going to be dejected. Even if it doesn't happen, it's okay. It does not determine your level of satisfaction. It does not determine your level of fulfillment. That is preference. A jnani can have preference. Nothing wrong in having preference. But when there is a desire, as long as we have desire, we should be ready to get dejected. That is why, for a mumukshu, for a seeker of moksha, the Shastra suggests to be free from desires with effort. Before getting Atma Jnana, as a preparation for Atma Jnana, one has to make effort to be free from desires. Being free from desires, the freedom from desires is called Vairagya. Vairagya means freedom from desires, freedom from raga. As a preparation for self-knowledge, we are suggested to cultivate Vairagya. One should cultivate Vairagya. How to cultivate Vairagya? The process of cultivating Vairagya involves dosha darshanam, being aware of the limitations of various sense objects. If one is aware of the limitations of the sense objects, one loses interest in them. One loses desire in them. This process is called dosha darshanam. In chapter 13, Bhagavan himself says, Janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanu darshanam. Doshanu darshanam. Seeing the limitations of various sense objects. That is the way to cultivate desire as a process to reach the Atma Jnana. But when you have Atma Jnana, when you have self-knowledge, your Vairagya is total. No sense object attracts you. Why is it so? Krishna describes it in the second line of this sloka. Atmanyevatmana tushtaha esthita prajnaha Atmani eva atmana eva tushtaha. He is tushtaha. not dushtaha. There is a difference between tushtaha and dushtaha. Dushta means a bad person. The dushta means a bad person. Whereas tushtaha means a man of satisfaction. One who has found satisfaction. And where does he find satisfaction? Atmani eva, atmana eva. In fact, all desires are seeking satisfaction. When we seek satisfaction from the external sources, it is desire. If we have to find satisfaction outside ourselves, we need two things. Number one, a source of satisfaction. An external source of satisfaction. For example, if Rasgulla gives me happiness, Rasgulla is the source of satisfaction. If I eat 5 Rasgullas, I get satisfaction. At least I cannot eat more. 6th Rasgulla. I am satisfied. So Rasgulla is the source of satisfaction. At least it appears to be. Whether it is really a source of satisfaction or not, that is another analysis. I am not getting into it now. So there is a source of satisfaction, and then there is a means of satisfaction. If I have to get Rasgulla, I should have proper means to get Rasgulla. I should have money to buy Rasgulla. Or I should have all the accessories to cook Rasgulla. So external means. Then there are certain other means also. There is a Rasgulla in front of me, but my body should permit me to eat the Rasgulla. I should have good health. I should not have diabetes. My blood sugar level should permit me to eat the Rasgulla. Also, I should have healthy taste buds. If something is wrong in my tongue, my taste buds are not working properly because of some disease, then I cannot enjoy the Rasgulla, even if it is in front of me. So I should have proper means of enjoyment. Therefore, I can derive some amount of satisfaction from an external source only when I have two things. Number one, I should have the source of satisfaction. And number two, I should have the means of satisfaction. If any one is lacking, then I will not get satisfaction from the external source. I will not derive the happiness from the external source. Therefore, any satisfaction that I derive from the external sources, it is dependent on various factors. But then Krishna says, for an Atmajnani, he doesn't depend on any external source or external means for his satisfaction. Atmani eva tushtaha. Atmani, Saptami Vibhakti, seventh case. In Sanskrit, seventh case stands for the source. The source of satisfaction is Atma, is within himself. Therefore, he doesn't have to look for an external source of satisfaction. And Atmana eva tushtaha. Atmana is third case. Tritiya Vibhakti. And Tritiya Vibhakti means the instrument. It is instrumental case. Means the means of satisfaction. He doesn't depend on the external means for satisfaction also. In other words, the satisfaction of an Atmajnani is independent of all external factors. The external factors do not determine the level of a jnani's satisfaction. The external sources do not determine the level of a jnani's fulfillment. Instead, he is always fulfilled because he has found the total fulfillment, the absolute fulfillment in his own self, in his own essential nature. Therefore, Atmanyevatmana tushtaha, that is a jnani. Sthita prajnastadochate, then he is called Sthita Prajna. When he has all these descriptions, when he is free from desires, and when he has found a satisfaction within himself, irrespective of the external conditions, irrespective of what happens in his life, whether gain or loss, whether success or failure, he is satisfied. Then he is called Sthita Prajnaha, tada sthita prajnaha uchyate. Then he is called sthita prajnaha. Next sloka, 56. Dukkheshvanudvignamanaha Sukheshu vigataspruhaha Vitaragabhayakrodhaha Sthitadhirmuniruchyate. Further descriptions of sthita prajna. Dukkheshu anudvignamanaha. His mind does not get disturbed during the unpleasant events of life, during the unpleasant situations of life. The life keeps presenting both pleasant and unpleasant situations. Sometimes there are pleasant moments of life, and the pleasant moments of life do not continue always. Any point of time, the life can turn into unpleasantness, unpleasant experiences. Like someone very close to us passes away all of a sudden, or we ourselves are diagnosed with some disease, or there is problem in company, problem in career. There are pleasant and unpleasant things that keep happening in life. And these pleasant and unpleasant experiences in life are governed by our own karma. It is our karma which decides what pleasant experience we will have, what unpleasant experience we will have. Everything is decided by our karma. Punya and papa. If we have some punya, there can be pleasantness, pleasant experiences. They happen. You keep getting good news. If there is some papa, sometimes it is time for our papa to fructify. Then we start getting the unpleasant news. It keeps fluctuating like the stock market. Sometimes the stock market is bullish. It's a pleasant news for those who have invested in shares. and sometimes it is bearish, stock market crash, unpleasant news. The graph goes up and down. What determines is not in our control. It happens. It is our punya and papa. It's our own karma. We cannot blame it on our planets. We cannot blame it on the stars. We cannot blame it on astrology, because the astrology, the positioning of the planets, they are just indications of our karma. When punya has to fructify, then we will have the influence of a Shubha Graha. And when Papa has to fructify, we will have the influence of the Ashubha Graha. The planetary positions are just indications of our prarabdha, our karma. Therefore, we cannot blame the planets for it. So these karmas keep presenting pleasant and unpleasant situations in life. And Vedanta doesn't say you can change the position of your planets. Vedanta doesn't say. And Vedanta does not even say that you can mitigate the influence of your planets. You can mitigate the influence of your punya and papa. It doesn't say. Vedanta is not meant for changing any external situations. If you want any change in the external world, then Vedanta is not the right choice for you. If you come to Vedanta with the expectation of better fortune, better luck, then you are going to be disappointed. Vedanta doesn't say if you study Vedanta, you will make more money, you will get better health. Vedanta doesn't promise any of such things. You may or may not have better health. You may or may not have more money, profit in your business. Vedanta teaches you how to be happy despite the ups and downs of life. How to remain undisturbed despite the challenges of life. Dukkheshvanudvignamanaha. The Atmajnana, self-knowledge, enables you to remain undisturbed during the unpleasant situations of life. Dukkheshu, during the unpleasant situations of life. Anudvignamanaha. A jnani's mind is not disturbed. Because the self-knowledge works as a shock absorber. It works as a shock absorber for life. There are shocks in life, but the knowledge enables you to withstand the shocks. Therefore, he does not get dejected. He does not emotionally break down when there are shocks in life, when there are unpleasant happenings in life. Therefore, dukkheshvanudvignamanaha, sukheshu vigatasprahaha. Sukha is a pleasant situation, a pleasant happening in life. When there is something pleasant in life, our natural tendency is to hold on to it. I want such a pleasant thing to continue in my life. I want such pleasant situation to continue in my life. But a jnani does not hold on to the pleasant situations in life. He doesn't get attached to the pleasant situation in life, because he knows that this pleasant situation may not continue for a long. Because even the pleasant experiences are the result of our punya. Even if I am enjoying good health, it is the result of my punya. And we don't know how long it is going to continue. Because we don't know how much punya we have. It can get exhausted at any time. Therefore, a jnani does not hold on to the pleasantness of life, the favorable circumstances of life. He just accepts them as they come. In the meantime, he is ready to lose them also. Therefore, sukheshu vigatasprahaha. He is not attached to the pleasant events, pleasant situations, and pleasant objects of life. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.